So, picture this. You wake up one weekend, you're scrolling through your phone, and suddenly the government is proposing sending cash directly to you. We're not talking about a small tax credit either. We're talking two radical multi-billion-dollar ideas dropped not in some formal policy paper, but in a series of social media posts. And it all kicked off with this one phrase, right here. Be sent directly to the people. All caps, no less. This wasn't buried in some dense document. It was a direct shot, a call to action that immediately had everybody asking, wait, what does this actually mean? And could it even work?
Okay, so the first idea took aim at something huge, the American healthcare system. And this wasn't some minor tweak. Nope. This was a proposal to completely reroute how money flows from the government to you and me.
At its heart, the idea was to change the path the money takes. For decades, government healthcare funds have gone from Washington to insurance companies. This new idea was like ripping up those old railroad tracks and laying a brand new line, one that sends the money directly to American families instead. And here is the original post from President Trump. The language is, well, incredibly direct. He specifically calls out money-sucking insurance companies and says, let's take those hundreds of billions of dollars and put them straight into the hands of citizens to buy their own healthcare plans.
So how would this actually work? Well, it's basically a three-step process. Step 1, you cut off the flow of government funds to the insurance companies for certain programs. Step 2, you send that cash directly to the people. And step 3, people then take that money and go buy their own plans on the healthcare marketplace. Simple, right?
A day later, we got a little more detail on how this might work. It was suggested the money could go into health savings accounts, or HSAs. Now, an HSA is basically a special savings account for medical expenses, where you get a nice tax break. So this gives us a clue about the potential plumbing for this whole idea. But the healthcare proposal wasn't the only radical idea that surfaced that weekend. Not at all. The second one switched gears from healthcare to international trade, but it had that exact same core theme, sending cash directly to Americans. And this was the number at the heart of it all, $2,000. It's so specific, so tangible. A number like that immediately grabs your attention and makes a complex economic policy feel really, really personal. In his post, the president explained where this $2,000 dividend would come from, revenue from his tariff agenda. So, this framed tariffs not just as a tool for trade, but as a direct source of income for citizens. And you can see that key exception right there, not including high-income folks.
So let's break this plan down. It's funded by tariffs, it's a payment of at least $2,000 per person, and it excludes high-income individuals. But here's a really crucial piece of context. This idea didn't just appear out of thin air. Senator Josh Hawley had actually introduced a similar, though smaller, proposal before. So there you have it. Two huge populist ideas are suddenly out in the public square. The debate starts heating up. And then the president's own administration starts telling a very, very different story. Suddenly, the message from inside the White House sounded a whole lot more cautious.
Here's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent just pumping the brakes hard. His message was crystal clear. We don't have a formal proposal, and we're not sending anything to the Senate. He essentially walked the whole idea back from a concrete plan to something, well, much fuzzier. And this really shows you the stark disconnect. On one side, you've got the president's very assertive language, I am recommending, it sounds like a plan. But on the other side, his own team is saying he's just brainstorming. What looked like a policy announcement was quickly being reframed as just an idea to break a political stalemate.
And this was the consistent message you heard from officials. They kept positioning these posts not as formal policy, but as creative thinking. A way to maybe, just maybe, find a way to end the really long government shutdown that was going on at the time.
So that begs the question, right? Why float these huge, transformative ideas in such an informal way, and why at this exact moment? Well, as is so often the case in politics, the context is everything. You see, these posts didn't just happen in a vacuum. Let's walk through the timeline. On November 5th, Democrats score big wins in key state elections. 3 days later, the DNC chair is calling it a blue sweep. And that very same weekend, boom, these cash-to-people proposals appear, all while a deeply unpopular government shutdown is about to hit day 41. The pressure was definitely on.
And this was the kind of sharp, aggressive messaging coming from the other side. A memo from the DNC chair framed those election results as a direct rejection of the president's party, accusing them of hurting Americans. This was the political narrative the White House was up against right before these new ideas appeared.
And on top of that, the numbers seem to back it up. Exit polls from those elections showed voters were not happy with the president's job performance and, maybe more importantly, were feeling sour on the state of the U.S. economy, even though the official line was that everything was strong.
Which leaves us with this final, crucial question. Were these weekend posts a genuine, open brainstorm of bold new policies, a real attempt to shake things up, or was it a calculated strategic move to change the conversation and grab back the political narrative during a really tough time? The facts are all there, but the answer to that question is something we're left to think about.